Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Yasmin Said Hassan, your English teacher. This is lecture of Officer Cadet College, Jhang. As you know, we are not connected with each other due to the pandemic of COVID-19, unfortunately. And inshallah, through this multimedia classes, we will connect it with each other and there wouldn't be any loss of your studies. Today I have decided a very important lecture for you. The title of this lecture is The Oyster and the Pearl. This is the first play of book 3, written by William Saroyan. As you know, students, play is written to be performed on stage. Play is a piece of writing which is written to be performed on stage. So we have to go through that what it means, and then we will decide the rest of the planning of this play. If I explain what it means by the title of this play, The Oyster and Pearl, there is a picture of oyster. There is an oyster. The oyster, students, symbolizes problems that we have in our life, the problem which we must be faced to get the hope of our future. The pearl in the oyster symbolize, although it is not the pearl is not shown and not described by the writer of this play, but the pearl symbolizes here the hope. The oyster symbolizes problems and the pearl symbolizes hope. So this play is all about hope and problems of life. There are some persons which we definitely describe, which we definitely discuss in our lecture, the characterization of this play. There are some persons who have the occupation of beach combing. They collect some different things from beach and sea symbolize life. So beach combing represents looking for the problems to get the hope of life, to hope of survival, the hope of going upward. The pearl is definitely a hope. So when Clay found the oyster, there is a young boy named Clay Larabi. When he found the oyster, he thought that there was a pearl inside. So if there would be a question in your exam, or if someone asks you about the title explanation of this play, you must go through with this explanation, that in title, oyster symbolize problems and pearl symbolize hope, and the Clay Larabi found that oyster, and he is having a belief that there is a pearl in this oyster which he found from that beach. About text of this play. Students, firstly, we have to know about the characterization, how many characters are there, what role they performed, and what are their names, and we have to know the identification of all the characters. So, firstly, we will discuss all the characters, then we will discuss the theme of this play, and symbolism it is a symbolic play. So symbolism is also very much there. The plot mean the construction of story, the construction, the sequence in simple way you can say that plot means summary. The summary of this play is also in there in this lecture, and at the end of this lecture you will get some suggested questions from your text. So students, this is the picture of William Saroyan. He was an American novelist and playwright, and he also wrote short stories. Students, William, I must want to share with you that William Saroyan, he was often compared with Ernest Hemingway. As like Ernest Hemingway, he also describes everyday people, the problems of everyday people, and he describes about the hope. He's a very optimistic uh, writer. He's very optimistic novelist. So he's often compared with Ernest Hemingway. So as like Ernest Hemingway, he wrote about human psychology. He was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for Drama in 1940, and in 1943 he won the Academy Award for Best Story for the film adaptation of his novel The Human Comedy. So these are the distinctions of his character. Saroyan wrote extensively about the American immigrant life of California. This play is also set in a town of California. The name of that town is OK by the Sea. And in this play, students, The Oyster and the Pearl, your third play, this play is also set in California, as it is the characteristic of your writer that he depicts Californian life in his writings. So, OK by the Sea is a town where the people of Harry lived, and California is the name of the population. Next, characters. The first character is Harry Van Dawson. He is the main character. He is a barber, and he is having different types of caps. As I found that image of caps, and he was having different type of caps. There are some western caps, some derby caps, stiff uh, caps, and barrett, and he has different types of caps which he often changed and he used when he was in work at his shop. So Harry Van Dawson is the main character. Actually, Harry Van Dawson is the spokesperson of the writer William Saroyan. Harry Van Dawson is the spokesman, and he describes the philosophy of the writer. He is a barber. He is very down to earth. He is like a charitable person. He is giving a different type of suggestions, and he find out the solutions of the problems of that town OK by the Sea. So overall he's a main character, and the main theme of this play is discussed by that person Harry Van Dawson. The second character is Clay Larrabee. He is a boy. He's a boy who finds that oyster, and he's the son of Clark Larrabee. He was leading a poor life. He was not going to school. He was collecting different things from beach, and he's very leading a miserable life. Although students, he's leading a miserable life, he's having hope that one day his father will come back and there would be all right at home, and he wants to he wants to give gift to his mother, and all these types of thinking he has. He's not, although he's miserable, but he's not pessimistic, he's very optimistic, as like Harry Van Dawson. He's having hope that all things will be better, and there would be a take it easy way of life. Third character is Miss McChin, a new English teacher in the town, and she's very optimistic, and she's realistic, and she's giving. First of all, when she came to that town, although she is a new teacher, when she came to that town, okay, by the sea, Harry Van Dawson, she's having different ideas than Harry Van Dawson. Then at the end of this play, Miss McCuen agreed with Harry Van Dawson that we have an optimistic view of life. Clark Larrabee is Clay's father. He's out of home due to poverty, due to fighting with his wife, due to the fighting of Clay's mother, because Clay's mother is demanding different things, and he is not able to give all these things and provide all the facilities to his family. That's why he quit that life, and he goes to another town for earning money. Number fifth character is a visitor. He's a writer. He was a writer who was listening all the methodologies and all the thinkings of Harry Van Dawson, and he is having another important role because he was the person who bought that oyster from Clay, not out of pearl but out of helping Clay Larrabee. That is the turning point of this essay. Roxana. Roxana Larrabee, Clay's sister, and Roxana is just a screenshot to Clay Larrabee. She's with her brother, and she is also combing different things from sea. Greeley, he is the friend of Clay Larrabee, another beachcomber. Mostly all the characters in this play, they are beachcombers. They are having the occupation of beachcombing. They find different things from beach. There is an also symbolization which we further describe or discuss. Judge Apricot, a beachcomber, and Vazuk, he was a watch repairer. His watch is near to Harry Van Dawson's watch shop. Now, students, the most important topic of discussion of this play, The Oyster and the Pearl, the theme. In William Sarion's play, The Oyster and the Pearl, there is a lot of symbolism. Firstly, we have to get through the theme from symbolism, that different things symbolize different ideas of the writer. The theme, the main idea, the topic of discussion of the writer is to take it easy way of life. That is a statement uttered by Harry Van Dawson in the text of this play. That theme is to take it effortless and loosen up, and a life will be a lot happier. That we should have a life that wouldn't be any problematic. Harry Van Dawson is we were discussing about the theme. The theme of this play is take it easy way of life. We should have an optimistic view of life. And Harry Van Dawson, although is a barber, he has a philosophy that take it effortless life. We should not be take hecticism, and we should not have burdenize our own selves after seeing the problems of life. He tries to spread his philosophy by speaking to men and women when he is cutting their hair. So this is the theme. So now we will discuss the symbolism. I have abstracted the four most important symbolistic point in this play. The sea symbolizes life, as I already told you, that the sea in the setting of the play, there is the description of sea which symbolizes life. The name of the compact town, okay, by the sea, in the story, um, that means we should be take it easy way of life. The name itself of that town itself, that names depicts the ideology of the writer, that there shouldn't be any problem in life. We should always be optimistic. The hats that Heavy wore symbolize the attitude that he was in. He was having different type of attitudes with different people. He handled with different he handled with the people with different attitudes. So the hats of the Harry, these hats symbolize different types of attitude which he have for different people. When he was discussing different problems with Clark Abbey, he was having different cap, he was having different attitude. When he was having views for Miss McCuen, he was wearing different hat and he was having different attitude. So with the shift of the people with who visit his house, his shop, sorry, his shop, so he was having different hats and he was having different attitude. So hats in this play symbolize attitude that he was in. The oyster symbolize obstacles, the problems which we have in our life. As students, we can abstract that point that opening of an oyster is a very critical and different task. So in the same way, in the oyster we have a that is suggested that there would be a pearl. In the same way, the handling of our life, the survival is very difficult. So we should have the hope that there would be a pearl. So the oyster symbolize the problems of life. Beach combing is another important symbolistic point in this play. Beachcombing represents searching for the obstacles to get to hope. We are having different occupation to solve the different problems of our life. So we can you can all learn all these four symbolistic point of view from this play for better understanding. Our next slide is about the plot of this. I have found that very important animated video from internet that will help you to understand the story. So listen carefully. At the end, we should be able to answer such questions, certain questions. Listen carefully.
The topic of this play is The Oyster and the Pearl. It is written by William Saroyan. It starts from a beautiful day in a small town, which is named OK by the Sea. We live lovely people who spend their day selling jewelry, mending watches and radios, or getting a haircut done. In the same town lives a boy named Clay. Clay is a poor, innocent boy who is fond of collecting shells. His father has left him because of poverty and sense of failure. He had written a small note on the mirror which said, "Enough is enough." And so Clay wishes to put an ad in the newspaper of OK by the Sea Girl, which comes out every Saturday, to bring his father back. Clay in this entire play remains an optimistic, cheerful character who constantly refuses to lose hope even after being given many reasons. For instance, the return of Clay's father seemed impossible to everyone else. Clay was the one who thought otherwise. He was hopeful about his dad's return. Harry is a barber and has a different perspective about life. He has a philosophy of his own, to take everything easy. One day, when he is busy dealing with his clients, Clark, who is Clay's father, visits his shop and asks him a favor. He hands Harry a sum of $30 and asks him if he could give this money to his son Clay, without letting him know that his own father gave him this. He leaves and on his way picks the newspaper that was lying on the table beside. Later, another client walks in, a gorgeous lady indeed, a school teacher who greets Harry and introduces herself as Miss McKitchen. She tells it had only been a week since she moved to this town. While talking to him, she tells him that she doesn't really like the students here, since they are not ambitious and too unruly. She aspires to change their mentality and attract them towards education. During all this conversation comes the writer of the story in the barber shop to get a quick haircut. He listens to the complete conversation between Harry and Miss McKitchen. The same day, Clay had gone to pick some shells. He came with an oyster, hoping to find a pearl in it. On hearing this, Harry encouraged him and gave him hope that there is a $300 worth pearl in it. However, Miss McKitchen denied. She kept on saying to be rational and realistic, that there is very less probability that there would be any pearl in it. Harry asks Clay to call his friend Wozak. He tells them that he is experienced at opening oysters. In the absence of Clay, Harry convinces Miss McKitchen, saying that people here are poor and not greedy. He tells her that Clay wants money not for himself but to bring his father back. He explains that all this depends on the oyster, since it can give him hope. On hearing this, Miss McKitchen agrees and asks Harry, "Okay, now what do you want me to do exactly?" So Harry replies, asking Miss McKitchen to encourage him. Miss McKitchen understands and agrees. On return of Clay, the writer approaches Clay and asks him how much would he sell this oyster for. He hands him a handsome amount of $300. On asking, the writer says, "Although I'm not sure if the oyster has a pearl, but this entire situation is a pearl in it of itself." He calls the basic...
So students, this is the plot. This is a type of comic, you can say, plot. There is a not exact ending. The Clay wants to get back his father. Miss McKitchen is a new teacher, and there is a human nature is described in this play. In critical point of view, we cannot say that it is a well knit plot. It is a well defined story, but that is the not writer's main concern. That is not the writer's main concern. He just want to say that we should be relaxed, although we have so much problems in our life. We have poverty, we have lackage of food, we have generation gap, and we have away from our uh, loved ones. But we should have an optimistic view that everything would be all right. That is the main concern of the story. This is not there is not concern that the writer wants to describe the Harry's life or Clay's life or Miss McKitchen life. He just wants to depict to the reader that we should have an easy way of life, and that message is very very is that message is described through the writer is very wonderfully. He's in complete success when he describes that we should take an easy way of life, and the audience, the reader wonderfully depict and catch and realize and understand the idea of the writer. So now there are the suggested questions. Question number 1, 2, 4, 6, 9. I have pointed out some of the important questions from the exercise of this play. Students, for exams point of view, for the point of view of the conceptual understanding, you have to go through and learn and revise and intensively read all these numbers of questions for your further understanding. Okay, if you have any problem, what will you do? Definitely, that is the demand. That is a best way to read out the text of this play, all the text, all the lines, all the actual writing which the writer given to you in the form in your book 3. You have to, all your queries will be answerable if you read out the text intensively reading, not extensively reading. Intensive reading is required for understanding of this play. Next lecture will be about visit to a small planet. So keep in touch with your institute, with our websites, and with our multimedia classes. Hope so you understand it. Okay, see ya. Allah Hafiz.